So I'm going to see if our little Miss J would like to do some play as well to build some behavior. So I don't know if she is, I know she sometimes loves her ball, but I don't know if she really likes little tuggies. She's like, oh, that smells intriguing. Oh, hello, hello. So I know we did a little bit of play earlier for some of the babes already. They've all had a chance to play with the flirt pole and have been doing really nice with some of that play. But remember, play could be another great venue for reinforcement for your gorgeous guys or gals. So Miss Lovely is slightly intrigued, but remember that for some of the puppies too, if they're panting or they're kind of overheating in the sense of like they need to expend heat when they've been doing some exercises, is that for them, since they don't sweat the way we do to cool off, they have to pant. So for some puppies, if they're already panting, I know this is so crazy. So if your baby's already panting, then grabbing a toy might not be up their priority list for now. So if she's not a huge fan of the toys right now, I know she does love her tennis balls or her little toys as well. But we'll work a few other little skills. We can always do play a little bit later. I'm trying to think. I haven't actually done the flirt pole with her yet. I'm going to see if she does maybe want to give it a try. Otherwise, we'll go into working a few other skills too. Ready? Jojo, you want to check it out? So the benefit of sometimes a flirt pole, oh, she's like, hello, is that this one is more like a little critter that's running. I think Miss J might be a fan. So obviously with our gorgeous gal, we don't want to do too much running because we don't want to get her too hot and having a hard time catching her breath. So a few little rounds of on, off, take a little breather, do some check-ins. I know Mr. Handsome heard me. Ethan says, I love the flirt pole, and he says, I need one in my life. So for our gorgeous gal, Ethan's like, please, I would just love it, is we're going to go ahead and she's like, I've caught it. So you can see that our little lady, she likes to grab and do very normal puppy behaviors. So grabbing and shaking and tugging. So ready? Jojo. Jojo says, this is a very cool critter. So let's say she thinks it's really neat. Ready? We might do a little find it. Oh, good job. So if she's like, woohoo. So just like with, you did a very nice job. She got a little bit of the fluff on her. So I like to do sometimes a little find it, get her to think letting go has value, and then we can play again. And we're not going to do tons of it because I don't want to make her too tired. So we'll do a little bit of running. I know she probably had a couple good outbursts in her. Woohoo. And again, we want her to be able to catch the critter. Nice job. So because if your puppies don't always get to catch the critter at the end, it gets frustrating. And we want her to be able that she can grab and also practice chasing and grabbing and letting go. So right here, we might go, ready, Jojo? Do a little find it. Nice job. If, again, she's really interested in the toy, I like to do several little find it's right over the toy and just let her hang out with it. Eventually, she might go into rotating. Or, for example, when she takes a little moment, you could also do two toys. So if, let's say, this flirt pole is just really intriguing for our gorgeous gal, we may find for her rotation through two items to be much easier than food. So, for example, some puppies are more toy-driven at times than food. So you could then all of a sudden bust out the new toy to redirect her and get her to go from one to the other. She obviously finds the flirt pole to be much more exciting because it tends to have more of that drive where it's running and making more fun physical behavior than a toy attached to me because I'm not quite as wiggly as a flirt pole. But then again, you could get it up and wiggling, and then she does kind of enjoy it. Nice job. She's like, I am pooped. Whoosh. And then we'll sort of redirect. Nice job, cuteness. But flirt pole could be another fun adventure for the gorgeous gal, just like a handheld toy. So, but if she's not as fluid with take it and drop it, like she, for example, maybe takes her little toys, like her balls and things, and she doesn't always, let's say, relinquish it. I'm just going to tidy up some of the fluff. And it's okay if some of the fluff comes off. If you're also finding that she's not as good with the drop it or exchanging of the item for food, she might actually do better. I'm just tidying up a little bit while we're blabbing. Good job, cuteness, is that having her practice between two balls or two toys. You saw how, like with the flirt pole, I would be able to then exchange for another toy potentially or rotate through two different types of tuggies. But you saw she did find it rather appealing. So if, though, the tuggy itself at the other end, like the flirt pole lure, is a little too stimulating, for some puppies, starting with the higher level of woohoo is sometimes hard if they don't know how to let go at a lower end of the spectrum. So if your dog has a hard time grabbing and letting go of something that they're allowed to have, sometimes grabbing for something they can still play with, but the arousal goes up, then what can happen is they have a hard time letting go because they're so jazzed they finally caught it that letting go seems like a really awful idea. So we may find for Miss J, because she's like, guys, it lives up there, is if you're finding it turns into almost a little compulsion, we don't want to turn this into such a drive that it turns into like almost OCD. So having it where there's some play and there's some thinking and there's some breaks and there's rotation would be healthier than just flirt pull until she's like off, like flopping on the floor. So you can see like she went for a few of the snacks, but she might be getting a little fatigued and tired, which is so normal. It's towards the end of the day for all the babes. And then obviously she has to catch her breath after running around like a wild woman trying to catch the flirt pole. But I would say the flirt pole or toy might be another great way to build up play with other distractions off on the side. And now with dogs doing something else over here and her playing, she has an outlet other than getting frustrated, not being able to get to or go to see that dog distraction. Because, oh yeah, take a little breather, ma'am. Because you may find for her, is obviously food is very nice, but just like with Mr. E, he really found that the toy was more fun than the food. So it's finding what motivates your particular dog and then using that to drive more behavior too, and just have fun in different venues that you might use play to keep your babe sort of interested while something else might happen off in the distance. So like with one of my boys, he loves the flirt pole. So of course for him, we'd sometimes go to new places, do the flirt pole as kids are playing on the parking, the play set, there we go. And then while maybe there's people playing baseball or there's softball off in the distance or whatever, then he starts to associate all those weird things as being not too scary, not too exciting, whatever. And we can do this task over here instead and change up his maybe perception around the scenario. So ready, Jojo? Oh, such a good job, madam. So, but for her first day and the rest of the beauties, they really did a stellar job. So I'm looking forward to them for next week as well. I think the setup worked beautiful. So like having the littles come in through the exit door, having the bigs come in through the front door was great. I know Mr. E has to get dropped off at 9:15 and that's no problem. So other than that, the other folks coming around the times that they did was just fine. It worked really nice because everybody was for the most part staggered, or I could come grab you when needed. If you guys want to, again, email me other tasks or skills other than the ones you may have mentioned when you first registered. That's always helpful because then I can have more bullet points to make sure I'm also staying on task for what you'd like for your babes. But for her very first rodeo and her first day in the program, she did stellar. So I'm very proud of her, and she's going to go home very tired. So, but very nice job for our little Miss J.